Hey guys, welcome to the third week of online learning. Aren't you so excited? All right, so what we're focusing on today is just going to be the unit circle. And we're going to mostly be focusing on that first quadrant, but we need to talk about a few things. So first off, it's called the unit circle because it's a circle that has a radius that's exactly 1 unit. 1 unit of what? Doesn't matter. But it's a circle with only a radius of only 1 unit. So that means that if I was looking at it, radius only 1 unit. So if I was looking at it, here would be my graph. It would land on this one, this one, this one, and oh, that's not down far enough. This one. Notice that it lands on all the ones. So that would mean it would go from here up to here, over to here. Obviously, my circle is perfect. Okay, it would look like about like that. What's so special about the unit circle is it tells us or gives us information for all circles. The reason for this is all circles are just scaled versions of the unit circle. So like if it has a radius of 2, it was scaled by 2. If it has a radius of 1/2, it was scaled by 1/2. Okay? Because all circles are similar to each other. All we need is that scale factor, and all of a sudden we can find all those things. It's very similar to what we were doing last week when we were finding the trig values, the points. Okay? So we're going to label these pictures as though they're on the unit circle. So I'm going to label the hypotenuse as 1. This is, again, the 60. This is the 30. I just had to turn it so it was like this. Okay, and then this is a 45, 45, 90. And this is the hypotenuse, so it's 1. So now if you guys want to give it a try, go for it. If not, then follow along with me. So if you remember the properties of this, to go from the hypotenuse to the sides, and it doesn't matter which side because they'll be exactly the same, we just take 1 and we divide by square root 2. If we wanted to write this without a radical on the bottom, we could write it as square root 2 over 2. So both of these sides are 1 over square root 2 or square root 2 over 2. That's going to be important on this next thing that we get into, all right? Okay, so then right here, if we go from the hypotenuse side, if you remember, this is just half of a equilateral triangle, a 60, 60, 60, but this is a 1, then this is half the size, so this is going to be 1/2. And then if you remember, all we need to do to go from here to here is multiply by square root 3, so this is just square root 3 over 2. Okay. So then this is pretty much exactly the same thing. It's just now this side is the half side. So to go here, all we did was divide by 2. To go there, all we did was multiply by square root 3. To go that way, we just divided by square root 2, divided by square root 2. Okay, so right here, this is half, then this would just be square root 3 over 2. All right. If you want, you can really use Pythagorean theorem to prove this. We've already proved it before. I don't feel the need to prove it again. Okay, so today we're just going to be focusing on this first quadrant. And I'm going to show you where those special right triangles go. So I'm going to show you using degrees because that's what you guys are used to. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw that line. And I'm going to point out that this is 30 degrees. Well, if I make the reference triangle, all of a sudden this is 90 degrees. All of a sudden this is 60 degrees. So that means this is 1. And then this side right here, we just talked about it. This is 1/2. So that means it only went up because this is going to be 1 and this is going to be 1. That means it only went up 1/2. So that means my y value is just 1/2. Okay. Then let's find my x value. How far over did it go? And if we look back at our other page, we can find out that it goes exactly, here, I'll zoom in so you guys can see this a little better. It goes over exactly square root 3 over 2. Oh, okay, that's rather interesting. Okay, so like, let's see what happens on this next triangle. So I'm going to draw this line now. Remember that the radius of the circle is always 1. Okay, and I'm going to draw the reference triangle. So that's here. And I'm going to tell you right now that this is 45 degrees. This angle down here. I'm going to go put the degree sign on my 30. There we go. All right, so if that's 45 degrees, that means both of these sides are the same. And we know that this is going to be square root 2 over 2 and square root 2 over 2. So that means this point is just square root 2 over 2 and square root 2 over 2. That's interesting. All right, so I'm going to go to purple now because purple's my favorite. Here is the last one that I'm going to do in this quadrant. And again, this has to be 1. Okay, now this is a right angle. And this, I'll tell you right now, is 60 degrees. Okay, so it's really just that 30, 60, 90 triangle turned on its other side. Okay, so now if that's 60, that makes this now 1/2. Makes this height now square root 3 over 2. So that means that this point, the y value is square root 3 over 2 because that's the height, right? And then the x value is going to be 1/2. Interesting. Okay. Do you have any questions there? Okay. We broke down that thing. There's only one other thing that I want to talk about. 30 degrees is what in radians? So if you think about it, how far did you break down pi? How many pieces did you break it into to get it down to 60 degrees? 30 degrees. So 30 degrees is the same as pi 6 radians. So 45 degrees is the same as pi 4 radians. We're going to do a lot of this tomorrow. Okay, and then 60 degrees is the same as pi thirds. Oh, that's not 3. Thirds radians. All right. There is something huge here that we're going to get into. So there's going to be 2 more days of notes on like this kind of stuff. I'm going to have 1 more day where I do specifically notes on the notes. And then the last day is just kind of, we're going to dig a little bit deeper. Just a reminder that this is at the point. So this is at 1, 0. This is at 0, 1. This is at -1, 0. And then down here would be at 0, -1. Now, all of this is important because of that 3rd day that I'm going to be getting into. And remember that this is also pi radians, right? So we'll get into like all of those degree measurements and all of that stuff tomorrow. And we'll break down this pattern a little bit further. Actually, I'm going to show you one more thing about this pattern. So do you see how it goes? Square root 3, square root 2, 1. And this is 1, square root 3, square root 2, square root 1, 0. I'm going to show you the pattern that my teacher showed me a while ago. So here's the pattern. Right now it's 0 over 2, 1 over 2. Well, actually, square root 1 over 2. Square root 2 over 2. Square root 3 over 2. And square root 4 over 2. Then the pattern going this way is now 0 over 2, square root 1 over 2, square root 2 over 2, square root 3 over 2, and square root 4 over 2. The biggest thing to remember is that the square root of 4 is really 2, which turns this into 2 over 2, which is just 1. And the other thing is the square root of 1 over 2 is really just 1 over 2. So again, this is just 2 over 2, which is just 1. This is just 1 over 2. Okay, that's the pattern that I kind of want to show you. This is the thing that got me through trig. So we'll go more over this tomorrow. Love you guys.